welcome back to Warlord Radio, guys. We have a very special guest tonight. We have Dallas-based filmmaker Joe Manco from Little Spark Films. Now,
Hello.
I've kind of known you kind of like once removed. This is our first meeting, but I know that I've been following you like on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I actually contributed to the Kickstarter campaign to The Torturer, which is your newest short film, correct?
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for inviting me on the show. Let me be on here. The Torture is, it's our first, it's our most revered project to date. It stars Paul T. Taylor from Hellraiser Judgment. He plays
Nice.
Pinhead.
Yeah. I got to meet him. He's a very nice guy.
Oh, he's great. And then it also stars Lawrence Fernando as the Torturer. And he's from Austin. He's a Texas-based actor as well. And he's fantastic to work with. He's got the scariest voice.
Nice. So can you give us a quick synopsis on what The Torturer is? Because it's not released yet to the public.
Correct. It's not released yet to the public. It was a short story published in a series of shorts by an author named Paul Kane. He is most known for the book Sherlock Holmes and the Servants of Hell, which is like if Sherlock Holmes got his hands on a lament configuration. He writes a lot of Sherlock Holmes, a lot of Robin Hood and stuff like that over in England. He's a best-selling author out there. And he hit us up and said, hey, I like these Hellraiser commercials you've been making for the Pyramid Gallery and configurationboxes.com. Do you want to check out one of these scripts? And I said, well, hell yeah. He's great friends with Clive Barker. He's big in the Hellraiser world. Why wouldn't I take that?
Right.
And it's short. It was like a 18-page script, I believe.
Okay.
But his words, he's such a great author. His words really demand, feeling, ambiance, and everything. And that's why the film itself is about almost 40 minutes, because we're really trying to sell emotion and tension here.
Uh-huh.
And so I think, the story itself is about a man being interrogated about just his life, about who he is and where he comes from. And he suffers from amnesia, and he has no idea why he's there or where he is. Mm-hmm. And that's Paul's character, completely oblivious to the world.
Right.
And throughout the film, he is haunted by a variety of specters from his past. And they, throughout the course of the film, we find out more about who this character Andy Brooks is, and basically why he's being put in this situation of being tortured.
Nice. That's a great setup.
It was rough. It was a 5-day shoot inside a little black room.
Yeah.
I want to say a 12 by 20 room.
Where did you shoot it? Was it somewhere in Dallas?
Yeah. We are you guys familiar with Pro Rehearsal Studios?
Oh yeah, very well.
It's a rock and roll rehearsal studio. It's
that's actually perfect because it's just bleak and sad.
Yeah. I know some of the bands that practice out of Pro Rehearsal.
Oh yeah. I've been going to that place since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's basically my home. I mean, the guy that runs the place, Prater, he is someone I went to I went to junior high with him, actually, I believe. We've been friends for years. All the paintings, all the pictures on the walls, the updated ones like Peter Steele and David Bowie, those are done by Eve Walding from the band Manifestive. She's the one who storyboarded The Torturer.
Fucking nice.
Yeah. And Paragraph Taylor, her husband, who's also the lead singer of Manifestive. He's also in a band called Secret of Boris. We shot their music video, Don't Mention Love. Yeah, he scored the movie. He did the scoring.
It was very much kind of a community effort.
Oh yeah. It's you really don't know who your friends or family are until you're a grown up.
Right.
You didn't want to believe your parents when you're a kid. Like, oh, you aren't gonna be friends forever. And then you're like, damn it, they were right. And then you find out, the ones that do stick around want to be a part of your team, and they want to watch you succeed and help you succeed. They want to succeed with you. And So I love Manifestive, and I
Nice.
couldn't have made The Torture without them.
You've been getting a lot of good reviews. I've seen that you've been winning like multiple awards at film festivals and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the horror movie awards. So we drove out to East Texas, Yantis, Texas, and we were shooting our new movie, Vice Mares.
Mhm.
And we weren't even on our first day of shooting yet. We were on setup day, hauling the world out there, And this was on December 12th, I believe. And in the middle of all the chaos, bam, we got hit. You just won 5 awards from the horror movie awards, and I don't have time to think about that. That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Right? That's awesome, man. It's
Thank
gotta feel good after all the work that you put in.
It does feel good, and the thing is I don't have time to bask in it.
Right?
Yeah, you have no time to process it. You're already busy on something else.
Yeah,
That's a good way to be, though.
Right? Yeah.
pretty much. But I mean, it's been going through festivals. Both Paul Kane and Paul Taylor seem to love it. Lawrence loves it, and my wife and I were Little Spark Films is heavily inspired by Clive Barker.
Uh-huh.
I've personally felt like this was the closest that I would get to be making a Hellraiser movie myself, even though it's not. I mean, Paul Kane, he's written Hellraiser, the movies and their legacy, which is a coffee table book.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, this amazing. If you guys haven't read this,
I haven't, but I'm very interested in that. I like Sherlock Holmes anyway.
This is fantastic.
Nice.
This is a great book, and and you can get the box from boxes.com. So we have a whole series. We have 13 videos of these boxes called the Hellbound Laments.
Uh-huh.
But that's basically those videos are how we got to making The Torture.
Nice. Well, that's a great story.
Thank you.
As far as your love of Clive Barker, did it begin with Hellraiser, or for me personally, I actually read the books of Blood and then watched Hellraiser, so that was my intro.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first Barker movie I saw, I want to say it was Hellraiser. I was probably 9 years old.
Nice.
And I snuck it, and I rewound the Julia scenes a couple times.
Right.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun. And but that was my introduction. And I think over the years I realized that when it came to liking Clive Barker, that just Hellraiser was my jam.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was what inspired me to go, I want to do whatever the hell this is.
Uh-huh.
And that was make movies. And Clive Barker has kind of made me believe that it's okay to be me.
Right.
No, that's good. I feel like true artists really can achieve that. You know what I mean? They can give you like a certain air of like not just inspiration, but like, man, I should do this, like encouragement almost.
Right, exactly. And it's a difficult step, to just look in the mirror and say, I'm going to make this jump. It's you really have to just shut the world off and just say, screw it, I'm going to go do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, and
that's the best way to produce authentic art, in my opinion. Like if it's what you want to do, then I mean, there's a piece of you in it. It's not necessarily something that you're just doing to get your name out there or something like that. Like it means something to you.
Oh yeah, exactly. And we've had opportunities where, I mean, by no means am I a rock star, or any of us. And we have had opportunities to make content that we feel which would launch us somewhere that is just unbelievable. And it's a lot of learning to say no. I was told say yes to everything at one point in my life, and I did.
Yeah.
And it's been taking me places where I would laugh at you 2-3 years ago if you told me I'd be first AD for under people like Isaiah Washington,
Yeah,
directing actors like Lou Temple or or Kevin Gage from the movie Strangeland. So and then I'm working on Joe Bob Briggs and for Shudder and AMC.
Yeah.
And if you guys saw the second season of Joe Bob with
yeah.
that was,
big fans.
yeah, that all the Hellraiser gags, that whole season was us.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
We didn't shoot it. We were part of the art department on that team.
Yeah.
And we took care of everybody, and and when you get to the season finale with all the Hellraiser gags and stuff, the lighting and stuff, that's Little Spark Films. That's all us.
I was stoked because a couple of years ago now, I got to meet Joe Bob at Texas Frightmare Weekend because I've worked worked on staff at Frightmare Weekend for several years.
Yeah.
And that was the year I was helping Joe Bob, running his line and stuff like that. So it was a real honor to get to meet him. He was a very cool guy.
Oh, he is so cool. And I'm gonna be real. I was nervous to meet the guy. I thought he was gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with a bunch of celebrities. I used to work for the WWE for about, I want to say, about 4 years. I worked for them.
You just hooked him because he's a huge wrestling fan.
Oh, right on. Yeah, my first gig was WrestleMania.
No, that's a hell of a first gig.
Yeah, when it was in Arlington. Yeah, wow. And I worked. Then next thing I knew, I was traveling with the company, and it didn't stop. And
what kind of things did you do with them? Just like, I'm just curious. Like,
I worked in the production office. I did a lot of production office work. Where you sit down, you work with the coordinators and the managers. You kind of, you coordinate the shoot. I didn't do any all the people that in that company that do all the building, the rafters and stuff like that. That's another company. That's the WWE hires another company called Upstage, I believe, which is a very dangerous company. And all those people that work for them doing that line of work for concert venues, everyone should praise them. You can't enjoy concerts or live sporting events without those people. Yeah. So, I mean,
some of the structures that they build are truly insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're supposed to support the world's largest human. Right. It's very, there's a lot.
I built a UFC ring once. I helped build a stage once in Oklahoma, and I'm no. That was not worth it. Yeah. WWE was pretty nice. And
no, that's crazy to think of, because I'm really fascinated, especially in pro wrestling, by the business aspect of it rather than the performance, which I still love. But it's always nice to meet somebody backstage. There's so many moving parts to a machine that size. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it gets to the point. With any project you work on, there's a lot of moving parts, whether you're recording an album or you're making a movie, you're putting on a concert, a live event of any sort. Yep. But yeah, with companies that big, hell, probably Disney even, it gets to the point where you don't even need to, be there. It's such a well-oiled machine that it moves on its own.
Right.
And that's a bit scary.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's terrifying, especially when you're doing a live stunt show with pyrotechnics and lasers and shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, sorry I didn't mean to derail the entire conversation.
No.
Yeah,
I miss those days sometimes. I never go back, but I miss those days sometimes.
Yeah, right on, man. So, are you currently in the middle of making your full length?
Oh yeah, actually. Our movie. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, now we can.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Nightmares. We shot the movie.
Okay, nice.
We shot the movie. And I don't know when it's going to be finished. I'm going to try to have I'm going to hope to be about, let's say 80% of the way done by December.
Okay.
Give or take, I'm currently in the middle of putting a trailer together for the film, and we do have some days that we have to shoot in an infinity room. Mm-hmm. We need to go to an infinity green screen room and do some pickups. It's basically a bad trip movie.
Okay.
Yeah, this man, he's in the middle of a divorce, and there's a lot of toxic masculinity going on mentally with him. And he goes to this old cabin that him and his dad used to hang out at every summer before he passed away. And instead of, just being chill and getting his mind off things. This guy goes on a bender. He's like a prosecuting attorney. He goes and gets a bunch of dope, and he goes on a bender and then kidnaps the pizza boy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what the movie's about. And it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty scary, in my opinion. And
so, did you shoot that around DFW as well?
we shot that in East Texas, in Yantis, Texas, actually. And I want to say we're maybe the second or third production to take place out of that town. It was.
Is there a reason you picked that location?
Yeah, it was because it was offered to us. The whole city was offered to us.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We hooked up with this one guy, this one producer, named Fletcher, and he had property, and he was friends with the city manager, and we did our tour. We figured out what we want to do, and we even discussed shooting other projects out there. It's just scripts that we need to option.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the whole town was accommodating to us, and it was great. It was insane. We got to shoot out in the middle of nowhere, and we had an insane amount of production value. With all the open space, we were allowed to have controlled fire, which was something that we've never been able to do before. I mean, I've had fire on a set before. We lit a couch on fire illegally. But
allegedly.
Well, I have video proof of it.
Yeah.
But it was very dangerous, and it was as controlled as I could possibly make it without being experienced at the time. And that was when we were shooting on DSLRs.
Uh-huh.
But now we actually had professionals on set doing controlled fire. We were able to have dangerous car stunts, not really stunts like just per se, just erratic driving.
I got you.
We were able to get that just based that because of the isolation. There wasn't many people to be around to get in our way. And then the Yantis Police Department was open to coming out and just blocking off the street for us and everything. Everybody out in that town wanted to help us. And
That's awesome, man.
That was great. It was a great feeling.
So you said that you used to shoot on DSLRs. What are you shooting on now?
Now we shoot on a red weapon in 6K and a red helium in 8K, and we also have a red kimono, which I believe shoots in 6 or 8K. I don't quite remember.
Okay.
But those are the cameras that we shoot on, and we also have a whole grip setup, Ronin, jibs, all that jazz.
Right on. And are you yourself doing the editing?
On this one, yes, I am.
Okay.
I my wife Catalina always was the editor for Little Spark Films, but like I'm pretty attached to this one, so I'm gonna take full charge and
right on.
Make everyone else go work somewhere else until I'm done with it.
So you got no one to blame if something screws up, right? It's like it's all on your shoulders. Yeah. That's always fun when you got no one to look at. It's like, who the fuck? Oh yeah, that was
me.
Yeah.
I did this.
The last few, normally on set, our mantra when we're shooting a movie is "fuck your feelings," because we just got to get through it.
Yeah.
But the last couple days shooting, I was just telling people like, "Look, man, the only person I have to yell at is myself." So I just need to get these.
Fuck my feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really curious as to how this all came together. I mean, first off, when did you start making films? Like, what's the spread between this film and like your first successful, like something that saw the light of day?
Well, the first thing that ever saw the light of day, I don't know. I mean, I started in high school. I went to a specialty school where I took college electives, college courses or majors as my high school elective. So I did get college credit in media technology and communications and graphic design. I did all that. And then I was more focused on being in my rock and roll band, and I did that for years, and I fiddled around with music videos, and then I met my wife, and I made a few things. I made a few videos, and they suck.
Everything in the beginning sucks.
Yeah, everybody starts
some
somewhere.
of the worst bands you've ever heard.
And then we started making music videos for another band we had called Aristoscat, and I wore a 3-piece suit. My wife wore a cocktail dress, and then we made like, incredibly heavy disco, porn, swing, rock and roll music.
That sounds awesome.
Right?
It sounds awesome. And we were making more music videos, and then finally my wife said, "Why don't you just do this yourself instead of hiring other people? I mean, because this is something you want to do." And the band was kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
At the time, and so I said, screw it, let's just go ahead and start, even though the band's dead, let's start making our own music videos, and we'll go from there. And so we dropped I want to say $300 on a T3i, a used T3i. We got an SD card. I think I was editing on Sony Vegas Pro at the time. I don't remember which one. And my friend Bart got a bunch of can lights, and we did it El Mariachi style.
Nice.
And those were bad. and then we started doing 48-hour film races, and the 48-hour film races I feel like are what really started helping us.
What is a 48-hour film race?
A 48-hour film race is where you get a bunch of people and say, do you want to make a short film in 48 hours? You go to a location where it's like normally your kickoff party. Everyone draws from a hat the genre. There's a list of rules that you got to abide by, like the genre of film that you draw. You need a certain line of dialogue, a certain character, a certain prop, and then it has to be thematic to the film festival or the film race. And then after you draw that, after the kickoff party's done, from that moment you have 48 hours to write, shoot, edit, and submit a 5 to 7 minute film that includes credits.
Awesome.
And we did how many have we done? I want to say 5. Okay. And we made the finish line every year, but it wasn't till I want to say our 4th year where we actually started winning awards. Mm-hmm. And that was our first year to get on Troma. We got on Troma Now, their streaming service, and it was for our film Anti-Christmas Carol. And there's a few short films before that I do like a lot. But Anti-Christmas Carol is just, I don't know, it holds a special place for me, like as far as the story is concerned, which is basically, the story of, Scrooge, but in reverse.
Right.
It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like projecting.
Uh-huh.
You're basically Scrooge projecting, and it's a zombie film as well. So,
Very cool. Did you get to meet Lloyd Kaufman?
I've actually worked with Lloyd Kaufman.
That's badass.
I've worked with Lloyd Kaufman a couple times now, and we all those short films that I just mentioned got picked up on Grindsploitation from Troma, so they will be on Grindsploitations Part 9 and 10, and those should be coming out sometime soon. But there's I want to say 6 of our films, including one that some other team members made. Basically, Little Spark Films is going to be all over the next 2 Grindsploitation shorts or DVDs.
Congratulations. That sounds amazing, actually.
Thank you.
But so these races really seemed like they were kind of a foot in the door for you, like really lit a fire under your ass about it.
They did, and they taught us how to multitask and, how to consolidate our moves. And, after we got on Troma Now with Anti-Christmas Carol and, a couple more projects here and there, my wife got in contact with Lloyd, and next thing you know, we're making a short film with him called Murder Balls. And it's just a fake trailer that we screened at Texas Frightmare Weekend. But because of that short film, we went from DSLR to shooting on Red cameras. Mm-hmm. And, we have Lloyd, to thank for that, for, giving us the time of day. Because I went to a master class out in Denton at UNT, at the drop of a dime. Like I just up and went. And I was halfway out the door. My wife was already in contact with him. I didn't, it kind of fell by the wayside. I didn't know if we were still going to work with the guy. I don't even know if he remembers, because if you follow Lloyd, the guy's got.
He's got a lot on his mind.
A lot going on. He's met a million people around the world.
Well, he's very approachable. Like I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah. But I went up to him, and I was halfway out the door after the master class, and I came back, and I said, "Hey, you talked to my wife Catalina?" And he goes, "Oh yes, I'm supposed to be shooting with you tomorrow." And I went, "Oh fuck." So I'm like, yeah, well, and we exchanged information, and and then it was like midnight, and I'm on my way home from Denton, and I'm calling my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, we're picking Lloyd and his wife up, in Denton, at 7 a.m. What do we got? What can we make?" And that night, in less than 7 hours, I wrote and shot listed a fake trailer, or more or less a short film, turned it into a fake trailer to screen at Frightmare. And then we made The Torturer. And then so much time goes by, we shoot more of these Hellraiser videos for the Pyramid Gallery and configuration boxes. And Lloyd is basically telling me, hey, you need to come down to Austin and work on this movie called Evil for Dinner, which I produced. All of Little Spark Films went down to shoot it for this guy named Travis. And we worked with Lloyd again, and the founder of Fangoria magazine, Kerry O'Quinn. We got to work with him.
Very cool.
And then just one after another.
So how many people are involved with Little Spark Films? Like, what's the size of the crew, I guess?
I don't know. Lots. Yeah. I mean, primarily it's my wife and myself, my wife and I, and then our key makeup artist, Tori Yeager.
I know Tori Yeager.
Yeah, she's great. Then there's Corey Ari, who wrote Vice Mayors, and he's typically my first AD when we're on set. He's a fantastic actor. He's a great writer, but normally he's the first AD. And as much as I love to have him in front of the camera because he gets the job done and he does it very well. Like he'll blow your mind with his acting. But behind the camera, the guy's a powerhouse, and he'll do 7 jobs without even thinking.
That's the kind of guy you need, is somebody that can literally handle any job you can throw at him.
Dude, on Evil for Dinner, he broke his thumb. Only one. And he was acting and second AD. And I'm like, oh my God, Corey. But that
gonna die, man. I really appreciate it. Your sacrifice will not go unnoted.
That's right.
But I mean, there's a lot of us. I mean, my camera operator, my director of photography, Jorg, and then there's he's got his own camera team. Like it's like all the departments over the past I want to say 12 months, 24 months have quickly been filling up. They have. Right. And it's a pretty cool feeling. Now all I got to do is make myself, more legit.
Right. So that's a good transition. So one of the things I'm real interested in is, how does a filmmaker find distribution, right? Good. So for you, how have you gone about that?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I've
good answer.
Well, the Vice Mayors is going to be our first film that we are seeking distribution with, because in order to get distribution, you need to have a film that is at least 70 minutes long.
Right.
There are some outlets you can go through online that are kind of like, bands use it sometimes, where you can get on like iTunes or Spotify or whatever. I forgot
something like DistroKid or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, And when you go through a company, I don't think CD Baby exists anymore.
No,
they exist, but they mostly handle music.
Yeah, but I mean, like normally they have those options where you can submit. They can push the distribution for you on online platforms for digital streaming. Mm-hmm. But that's for smaller projects, and for something like The Torture, that's what we would do. For bigger companies like Uncorked Entertainment or IFC, I think we would make sure we hit the marks as far as reaching our runtime of at least 70 minutes. Mm-hmm. They won't distribute you unless you have that. You need to have your what's it called, subtitles, and you need to have the audio for the visually and hearing, or the visually impaired.
Yeah. Closed caption or whatever.
Well, no, they have this thing where like sometimes it'll explain like what certain props in the scene and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real wild.
Yeah, and a lot of these distribution companies require that you do that. So I mean, in order to get that done, that's another $1,400 that you need to account for when you're raising your money. But I think right now it's get the product done, or as done as possible, or presentable as possible, and then you find your distributor. Some of these people around town have been going through E1 Entertainment and just farting out movies left and right and getting them put on Walmart shelves and neglecting their babies because they don't care. They don't want to see the movie succeed. They don't want to push it or get awards. They just want to fart out the money and collect that distribution money and flip their bill and make everyone work for free. And that's cool if they want to do that. But we're making this is this is a hard work. I mean,
yeah, it's very hard.
You got to hustle,
And the only way the makeup artists are going to get more jobs is if they say, hey, this film is winning awards that I was a part of. It's getting around. Check it out. It's got a reputable distributor. Other people they're just like I said, trying to make their IMDb credits grow.
Right.
I mean, they're like that's their own prerogative, but the distribution company that you want to go to is the one that you want that really puts out a lot of the movies that you like to watch. So it's finding what your demographic is and finding out what that demographic likes, as far as other movies that are relatable to what you're trying to make, and then that's the direction you need to go.
Yeah.
It's like I like what's a weird movie I like? I don't know. Here, that's a bad example. I mean, Sid and Nancy's a great movie, but
yeah, love it.
But here, this one is Snow Fort and Raven Banner Pictures, Starry Eyes. I love this movie.
It's a great movie.
This is a great movie. So I would find out where the demographic is, and find their what they call comps, and look at those distribution companies on all those movies. Right. And for Starry Eyes, their distributors are there's 3 companies on here: Dark Sky Films, Snow Fort Pictures, and Raven Banner. So that's where I would send my press kit to, and I would contact them and be like, "Yo, take my movie, give me money, and then I'll make another movie." And that's when your picture deals begin. And this is something that I'm learning as I go as well.
Right.
Yeah, and my wife, she went to the American film market this past go around, which was just a plethora of information, which is something we learned about from Lloyd Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guys haven't read his books, Make Your Own Damn Movie books. There's like 5 of these. And there's a lot of word vomit in here and a lot of funny stories, but you got to read between the lines in order to really get the information across. Mm-hmm. And it's been a while since I've read these. I think my wife's recently read all of them. But I mean, just the amount of information you get is very valuable. Yeah. And even though it's information that was written, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago, you can still relate it to today's operating system. Because, I mean, I think about it all the time, when I watch movies from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and I'm thinking, it must have been so fun to make movies back then on celluloid with these incredibly huge giant lights that could, burn you if you're standing 5 feet next to them. But could you imagine being a production assistant during the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and 60s? Because we didn't have GPS, and you had to run around with $20 quarters in your pocket every day. You're basically paying to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nightmare.
You couldn't go on to Find My Cell Phone if your leading guy was having a breakdown somewhere in a park.
So let me ask you this: how do you see kind of the future, or even the present, really, of movie releases? Because still, release theaters are shuttered. Many of them are permanently closing.
Yeah.
And now you've got major deals where, is it Warner Brothers that partnered with HBO Max? And
Warner Brothers has always been partnered with HBO.
But for as far as their theatrical distribution, they just pissed off half of the filmmakers that they work with.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that those filmmakers that they work with should have already known that was going to happen.
Yeah. But so is it, do you think, is just everything by default going to just go directly to streaming?
That's something that we talk about a lot. That's something that's very concerning to us and other filmmakers like Edgar Wright,
Yeah.
From Shaun of the Dead. They're
Because that'd be a major bummer, because the theatrical experience is a huge draw.
Huge part of it.
You know.
No, it's. I mean, Alamo. We're watching Alamo Drafthouse close its doors.
Yeah.
We literally are. And Studio Movie Grill is really struggling to stay open. And I don't want to say that the movie theater is going to die. I don't want to say, the drive-in, of course, will never die.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Joe Bob.
as far as sitting inside a theater, I don't know. And I'm terrified that we'll lose it. And a lot of these producers, they make movies because they want to see the picture on this giant silver screen. That's what we all want to do, and that's why we do this. To have your work, be given its undivided attention. And it's kind of scary right now. In about 2 years, I don't think we'll have a single movie theater open.
Yeah.
About 7 years, maybe less, we'll start seeing them pop up again. As far as the human race being a bunch of stubborn potatoes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it is convenient to stay home and watch a movie. I wanted to go see Bill and Ted in the movie theater so bad.
Yeah.
I did. I truly, I wanted to cry that I didn't get to go see it. I ended up breaking down and getting it on streaming. I just bought it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I remember I was looking really forward to going and seeing Bill and Ted in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, grabbing my popcorn and my $24 soda and like doing the thing.
That was the thing for me, because when the last one came out in the early 90s.
Yeah.
When Primus was in, and it's just hitting it big. And frickin', I was a little kid when I went to see it. It was the
Me
great.
too.
Yeah. And I didn't get to take my kids to go see the new one.
Exactly. Like I have a 7-year-old boy that I was really looking forward to going and seeing Bill and Ted with. I'm right there with you on this one, man. That was heartbreaking.
And I'm a freak. My wife and I were freaking out about Candyman because it was announced that if it doesn't get into a theater by September, they're just going to drop it on streaming service.
Yep.
The crappy thing is that you got to remember is that these producers that invest in these movies, they will need a return.
Oh, yeah.
They do expect, the return to not happen for about 11 to 20 years.
Yeah.
But when opening weekend is, shot all to hell, it's not a good sign for your picture.
Right.
So, I think most people are going to start dumping onto online streaming. And that really sucks because I want to put my movie on a freaking big screen, and I'm like this close. And
that's why you do this. That's why you get into that. You want to watch your own movie at the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, it's also the problem to me of like, how do you discover new stuff? Because if you just get dumped into a wasteland of streaming,
and you're only watching what you want to watch,
where it becomes very hard to discover new things that you might like. And I pay fucking attention, much less the person that's just, hey, let's check out a cool horror movie. And, if it doesn't pop up in the first couple of screens of Netflix, you've basically got zero chance of getting discovered. And all of those are basically, especially if you have the competition of major studio projects like Candyman, they're going to take up that slot. So like as a for instance, I just watched a movie on Shudder called Anything for Jackson.
Oh, how was that?
It was excellent. And I heard absolutely nothing about it until my buddy from Oklahoma said, you have to check this out. So it was a classic word of mouth, right? He passed it along to me. I checked it out. I thought it was awesome. But someone like me that is plugged in and watches trailers and, checks for release dates and stuff like that, avid follower of Fangoria and Rue Morgan, all that, heard fucking nothing about it.
Man. And, that's something I'm freaking out about, too. You said you heard nothing about that movie, and it was great. There was we watched a movie the other day, and it just blew my mind that it was off my radar my whole life. And I can't for the life of me tell you what that movie was.
It'll come to you right after we're done. So
It will, and I'll text you if I remember.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
But, that at the same time, that's just something that when you can't go to the movie and people are, they're forced to watch the trailers, the previews, that's how newer movies explode. That's how they grow life.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of it, you got to get the PR, you got to go do guerrilla marketing and campaigning, but it's, can I get someone to watch my 40-minute movie, my hour-minute movie? I don't want to watch your movie. I don't want to donate to your Indiegogo, but watch my movie.
Yeah.
I swear you'll love it.
Man, no,
And so it's being a fan and being a creator is a give and take relationship.
Well, yeah, I agree. It just seems like we're in unprecedented waters, and it's like, who knows how things are going to shake down. But I think we all agree that it's like, man, hopefully we're able to save that movie-going experience.
Seems to me like the drive-in industry would actually blow up, because that is the most socially responsible way to watch a fucking movie right now.
Yeah, no, and if you guys haven't been to the Galaxy, I strongly recommend it.
I haven't been to the Galaxy.
The Galaxy, it's down in Ennis, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's the best drive-in in Texas, in my opinion. I mean, God, man, the Astro drive-in when I was a kid was fantastic, and that burnt down due to insurance scam. But I mean, the Galaxy Drive-In's a great place to go, and if you haven't been there, just go check it out. Go watch a couple, double features. It's fun stuff.
Right on. On the more positive things, what are some of the movies that you've been digging on lately? Like, what have you been watching?
Oh, what have I been watching lately?
And it could be new or old, doesn't matter.
Well, man, it's just when being in the middle of pre-production and principal photography, I kind of turned off the TV.
Right. Understandable.
Right before we started, though, I did go on a Terry Gilliam kick.
I love Terry Gilliam.
So
he's ever fucking done.
Oh yeah, we were watching. I was watching Time Bandits, Fear and Loathing, Brazil, and then we went to go shoot. And then now that we're back, we've been watching a lot of Alex de la Iglesia.
Oh yeah, like Day of the Beast and stuff like that.
Yeah, we watch. Actually, we watch Day of the Beast every Christmas.
Nice.
That like we watch Southland Tales every 4th of July. But what else? There's this one that we watched. It's downstairs.
Yeah.
It's got Javier Bardem and oh God, what's her name? What's her name? I can't remember. It's one of his early films. Dance with the Devil, I believe.
Okay.
Petita Durango.
Okay.
In America, it's called Dance with the Devil. It's called Petita Durango, and it's got Rosie Perez and Javier Bardem, and that movie's fucked up. I loved it.
I should see it.
Good recommendation. I'll check that out.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff we've been watching lately. We just finished a TV show. I don't even remember, man. I'm so like one thing is that my problem is my wife tells me I don't turn off, and I don't.
Yeah.
And we're watching movies, and all I'm doing is thinking like, I want this. I want this movie. This movie. God, this movie looks like total shit, right?
That's so bad.
That's a terrible cover.
It is awful key art. But like, dude, this is okay. So have you guys seen Wild at Heart with Nicolas Cage by David Lynch?
Yes.
Yeah.
The author of that book wrote this one.
Okay.
And I want to say that Rosie Perez's character, from my research, is Isabella Rossellini's character in Wild at Heart. I haven't had time to really test my theories yet. I'm that guy. I'm that weird. So, but anyway, this movie was what I was trying to remember. Like, why have I never seen this? But this right here is a fantastic flick, and believe it or not, like, this was incredibly difficult to find. I could only find it on one source, not on eBay or anywhere. No thrift stores. It was only on Amazon VHS for $90.
Oh wow!
And
that's a hell of a
some asshole bought it, and then I found this for $5 like right after.
That's how it always goes. I spent so much on a copy of Deadbeat by Dawn, and then because they weren't distributing it yet, and then they started to distribute it like right after I bought like this $45 fucking DVD from like some guy's box. Like,
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like reading in the back of like Fangos for companies where you could find like European imports of movies, either uncut or that you couldn't just get. And I remember shelling out $100 for a VHS dupe of Dario Argento Stendhal syndrome
oh wow.
from a Japanese Laserdisc.
Man.
And now I can buy it for like $8 from Amazon.
Yeah.
But I still have it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm holding on to it.
That was a conquest for you.
That's right. Yeah.
I had a bootleg version of Akira like that back in the 90s. And it was the only one I watched for years. And when people would watch it with me, apparently my dub was different.
Oh really?
Yeah, the guy who did the Leonardo's voice from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon was the voice of Kaneda.
That's insane.
That might be a little distracting. Yeah.
It was fine for me, but no one else could watch it. That's all I knew.
I think I saw Akira on, it was like a Duke copy of like a Duke VHS tape. And like the label was just a piece of tape that said Akira and like Sharpie on it.
Right.
I got it from like a flea market or something like that.
Yeah, well, now the movie's everywhere, but yeah.
I know.
Yeah. You can literally watch 3 different versions of it on streaming sites right now.
Yeah.
I love that movie. It's great.
I do too. It's great. I made the mistake of getting in high school. There was this girl I was hanging out with, and I gave her like some mushrooms, and we watched Akira. And this poor little hippie girl, like I watched her brain snap in half. I was just like, I think I overdid it here. I apologize.
Oops. Then you had to babysit for a while.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, it's okay. It's not real. There's no judgment.
If you're ever having a bad trip or you find yourself in that situation again, the movie that you want to put on is Back to the Beach, which stars Frankie and Annette.
Some Annette Funicello, man. That was quite the top.
Or that could just send you straight into like a psychotic break, you know.
Well, the worst thing that happens in the movie Back to the Beach, aside from Pee Wee Herman doing, Bird's the Word again, is a surf off. That's as violent as it gets.
Right.
So, I mean, it'll save any bad trip.
Right.
Oh, man. And then you just find yourself wearing Bermuda shorts and dancing with your thumbs.
Right. Sometimes some of those like older like movies and music though, it's like they can have a creepy edge even though they're ostensibly like really bright and shiny. So it's like a lot of times, like especially like music and movies and stuff like that, by association, but like the jazz standard that plays at the end of Evil Dead, I will always associate that with just like extreme gore and horror and stuff like that.
Right. It was Hitchcock that said shoot your love scenes like a murder scene, and your murder scenes like a love scene.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what he means, though. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I wish I kind of did that.
Right.
I got murdered in a love scene one time. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Radio.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you going to take the new one, Weissner's? Like, you going to hit all of the film festival circuits and the things like that when it's ready to go? Or?
Oh, yeah. When it's ready to go, and we're going to we're going to put the movie together.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure it's completely finished in post. We're going to have our press junket, everything pulled together. We did get the newspaper came out. We shot in Corinth, Texas at an airport.
Yeah, we're in Denton right now, so we're like, that's like literally 5 minutes that way.
Yeah.
Were we in Corinth? No, we were. What's right outside San Antonio? I don't remember where.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff outside San Antonio.
I don't know. We were right outside.
Like Bernie or something.
No, I'll remember. Just give me a second. But the newspaper showed up. And that was pretty cool. And that's the second time in 2020 that we had the paper showed up.
Right on.
The first time actually was for these assholes, Evil for Dinner.
Right on.
We shot at the Belton Courthouse.
And the lectures.
Yeah. They these guys came out again and they want to talk to us about vice mayors. So we're gonna put the junket together and then we're gonna do the festival circuit. But I think we're currently going to start seeing where our options lie as far as distribution goes. Hence why I'm currently working to get the trailer out, and then we're going to be doing a post-production Indiegogo. Hopefully we can do the post-production Indiegogo before we sell it off, and then make sure we have everything completely tied down before a distribution company comes around and like, oh, we want to buy your movie from you, but since we're giving you money, you have to finish the movie this way.
Right.
And I don't want to finish the movie that way. The movie ends my way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan of attack here. So that's my goal for 2021 while being in development for another movie.
Okay.
So currently we're working on another project called The Reckoners, which is a rock and roll Faustian tale. The only downside to this movie being made is that I need a concert venue that can, put a shitload of people in it. But of course there's COVID.
Yeah.
But, if you also spend a year in development and pre-production, hopefully by the time I get past development and pre-production, this nightmare will be behind us.
Yeah. Yeah. We're hoping. We're both in bands, so it's like it's just murderous. Like
we were booked from March of last year all the way to February of this year, and in one day lost all of those gigs. Just email after email after email after email after email. It was like traumatizing, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was. I'm sure that's just you turn off your phone after a while and just like, I'll wait till it's done.
Yeah. After a while, it's just kind of like bad news on bad news because like not only do you like not get shows and stuff, but then you start watching all of your favorite venues closing down. And it's the same thing with like movie theaters.
Yeah, we were in Castroville.
Castroville. Okay.
Right on.
That's where our last day of filming was, and we got to shoot with airplanes.
Nice.
That sounds entertaining.
Have you had the cop show up on set and give you guys any trouble?
No.
Nice.
But Vice Mayors does star an actor who is a police officer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Our lead actor is actually a police officer down in Corpus Christi.
Okay.
So he might show up on set and give you trouble.
That's right. Yeah.
Nathan's a great guy. He's a great friend, and he's quickly becoming a producer. And he was in The Torturer. That's how we met him. We met him on The Torturer, because he already knew who we were. He knew us from all the bullshit, ugly stuff we always made. And he shows up for our first film, that's on a red, and he's like, boom, he's on. He wants to be on every shoot with us, and that's great. And he's great to have around, and he's a great supporter of ours. But no, he's a police officer. He's a mental wellness officer down over in Corpus Christi, and he's been in the shit. He's been in the shit, and that guy's no joke. And I'm very glad to have him a part of our team. I really am.
That's awesome.
I think the only time I ever had the cops bust up anything I was doing, I was doing a show when I was in high school at a park, a metal band, and the cops asked me for my permit.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's in my car. Let me go get it.
Right back.
That's really the only time.
Right on. Well, before we wind this down, we'd like to ask you, in what order do you want? Give us your top 5 horror movies.
Woo! My top 5 horror movies would be Phantom of the Paradise,
Nice.
Terror Firmer by
Terror Firmer. Fuck yeah.
Spider Baby.
Okay. Yes.
Spider Baby.
Yes.
The Devil's Candy.
Okay. Oh, that's
New
the
one
one about the artist, right?
Yeah.
And yes, that's a fucking great movie. That's one that I just kind of like stumbled on.
Oh yeah, watch like Devil's Candy, Starry Eyes, and Mandy.
Mandy
Mandy
loved it.
That's like my perfect satanic trilogy right there.
There you go.
That's just me. But what I say is Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of
The
the Dead.
OG Dawn of the Dead.
Very nice.
So those are my top 5.
That's amazing, man. That's a great list.
Thanks.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure to interview you, and man, we hope nothing but the biggest of success for both Torture and Vice Mayors. We'll post your links when the episode comes out.
Yep.
But please, where should people go to check out some of your work?
The best place to go is our home hub. It's going to be littlesparkfilms.net. Littlesparkfilms.net. And I mean, we're on like basically every social media platform. So if you want to follow us, be silly, and watch us be goofy and silly, like crazy, go for it. But if you just want to watch our content and not look at our faces, the website's great. It's got. I try to maintain it as best as I can, keep it updated. Everything that's released, even old stuff, new stuff, it's on that website, and it's a huge website.
Where'd you come up with the name Little Spark?
We're just a little spark in the big machine, and sometimes, I need a spark lit up my ass to finish a project, or sometimes people need their hand held, and I need to light a spark up theirs.
There you go. That's a good name, man.
Thanks.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you so much, man. We will talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
You're listening to Warlord Radio Podcast. Please hit like and subscribe at the bottom. You're listening to Warlord Radio Podcast. Please hit like and subscribe at the bottom.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. Yeah, you did a great job. Let's wrap on that. You did a great job. Look at you, man.